This was the best move for a team that needed to help stopping the run. You get Kenny Clark. This gives them some flexibility in the future with the 2 first-round picks that they've garnered here from the Packers, as well as the cap space that they gained from not paying Parsons. Now, the Cowboys have not been big spenders in free agency, that we know, so they might have to change their MO a little bit. But I just think that they were ready to move on, and it was a situation where you're 6 days out before you play the Eagles. Now they don't have to answer any more questions about Micah Parsons. Will he play? Will he not play? Now, though, it opens up some other questions. I guess it's just on the field now.
Yeah, let's get to those questions. Again, as you mentioned, less than a week away from going to Philly to face the Super Bowl champs. How does the loss of Parsons affect the Cowboys' season and their outlook now?
Well, it depends on who you ask, right? Outside the building, certainly the expectations are as low as they can possibly be, perhaps. But inside the building, you heard Jerry Jones say, this makes the Cowboys a better playoff team. Of course, they have to qualify for the playoffs. And I asked Brian Schottenheimer, what does this do for the Cowboys right now? And he said, nothing's changed. The goal is still win a world championship. They've not won one since 1995, as we all know. They're entering a season without their best pass rusher, but the power of positivity from Brian Schottenheimer, that's what's carrying them. We'll see what happens starting September 4th against the Eagles.
All right, you can read much more on Todd's reporting at ESPN.com. Let's go over to Elle with more.
Yeah, so this trade did have a major impact on the Packers' odds this season. They're now tied with the Lions as the NFC North favorites. They moved from 20-1 to 14-1 to win the Super Bowl, and they're now tied with Detroit as the second favorites to win the NFC. Just moments ago, Green Bay GM Brian Gutekunst took to the podium to discuss this huge acquisition.
No, I think, obviously a player like Micah, and he's very unique and very rare is it that they're available, right? So as this kind of came together, it was just one of those things where it was a unique opportunity for us, and it was going to cost, right? There was going to be some expense with it, but we just kind of thought it was the best thing for our football team, and we're excited to get him. We're excited to get him out there and get him with our team so that he can get up to speed as fast as possible.
Obviously, you weren't here when they signed Reggie, but I'm sure Ron was here. Obviously, did they ever talk to you about what that meant? And is there maybe some parallels with Micah?
Yeah, I don't think there's really any parallels to that at all. I mean, again, I wasn't here, so it's hard for me really to compare that. Different time. I think the Packers organization was in a different space at that time. So I can't really comment on that. Mike is his own man, and he's going to forge his own path here. But I think he's going to be a really, really good fit for our locker room, really good fit for our team. But that was a little before me.
Let's bring our NFL analyst, Mina Kimes, to give us her reaction to this. I feel like Brian right there was playing it super cool. He's like, yeah, I think it can probably impact our defense in a significant way. What do you think? Like, what kind of impact is Parsons going to have now for this Packers team?
I think he vaults the Packers D from being top 10. They were top 10 last year, by the way, in most metrics, to potentially being one of the 5 best defenses in all of football. Last year, I mentioned that they were top 10 in a lot of metrics, DVOA, per play, yards per play. They were top 5. But one area where they were not ranked near the top of the NFL was pass rush, particularly their standard 4-man rush. They were much better when they sent an extra rusher, often Edgerrin Cooper as their star linebacker. 26th in pass rush win. Micah Parsons is first in pass rush win amongst edge rushers over the last 3 years. The Packers' highest ranked player was Rashawn Gary last year, who was 42nd. This was an issue that they needed to address, and they didn't just address it, they dramatically revamped it in a way that I think makes them legitimate contenders, not just in the NFC, but in the entire NFL.
Among some of the more confounding things that we just heard from Jerry Jones last night, this idea that this move is going to make his team better. I've essentially thought, I feel like it's probably Brian Gutekunst that should be saying that. Do you think they are now a top contender in the NFC after getting Micah Parsons?
The Packers, yeah. Absolutely. To be clear, the Packers were already a really solid team, and I think we're a playoff team. Last year, I think it was kind of slept on how balanced they were. I mentioned that the defense was top 5. The offense was top 5 as well. They just struggled a little bit with consistency They needed to add a playmaker, and it appears that they did in the draft with Matthew Golden, who's looked fantastic early on. But right now, when I look at this team, how they're built, how well coached they are, I think they're right up there with, frankly, any team in the NFL. I still have them just outside of Philadelphia, but I would have to say, to me, they're second now ahead of Detroit, given the change in coaching staff there and some of the questions on the interior of the offensive line. That's how big this trade was. It cannot be understated how much impact a player like Micah Parsons has on this defense.
I love that you mentioned that, too. They're going to get to measure their shiny new toy right away. They open up the season with their division rival Lions week 1. But you mentioned what it does for the Packers. The Cowboys ship away their best player, and they get Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks in return. That enough to you?
No, absolutely not. I feel bad that Kenny Clark is like the name in this, because he is a really good player and he's been so underrated for so long. But, you know, he is 30, and I don't think he solves the Cowboys' biggest issue, which was run defense. And now they just created another issue, which is pass rush. You know, outside of Micah Parsons, you have Dante Fowler Jr., who was good last year, Donovan Ezeraku, who's an exciting draft pick, but all of those players are much better with Micah Parsons getting doubled on the opposite side, and now he's not going to be. Every offense's life's just got a lot easier playing Dallas. And as far as whether or not they're going to be better in the long term, I truly believe they could have gotten more than this if they had made this decision early on. This feels like a last-minute decision and a change of heart, and that's just not a smart way to run a team in the NFL. You want to maximize a return, get the best possible players. I do not think Dallas did that.
Jerry keeps hearkening back to the Herschel Walker trade like I've done this before, but back when he did that in the 80s, it involved 18 picks and players that he then used to build that dynastic Cowboys team in the 90s. Mina Kimes is giving us her reaction to a size
memory. It happened just over 24 hours ago. The Cowboys sending All-Pro Micah Parsons to the Packers for defensive tackle Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Dallas fans still not over trading Luka Doncic. Now, just under 7 months later, it's Micah. And for one guy who's just a victim of circumstance, that is Clark. Here's his reaction earlier today.
Man, this trade wasn't getting done unless I was in it. And that made me, man, feel wanted right there. And, man, I'm happy to be here. I'm just blessed. I'm blessed.
Nothing's changed. My goals haven't changed. Our team goals haven't changed. I hit the players on that today after I talked about, you know, just the tough couple days for –